Hey folks, welcome back to Controlled Crash. If you're just joining me for the first time, my name's Chris. My name's Chris regardless if you're joining me for the first time or not. But either way, my name's Chris. I'm a 15-year concept art vet in games, TV, and print media. And my goal is to show that concept art can be for everyone, regardless of skill level. Today I want to talk about how to improve your concept art. And I'm going to talk about something that's a little bit different from the sort of the established way of talking about it. One of the things I want to do today is sort of talk counter to some of the information, well, a lot of the information that's prevalent in the online concept art learning community, be it YouTube or online courses. A lot of it has to do with how online learning is structured. So the model that's, I wouldn't say it's falling away, but is losing prominence is, you go to art school, you go to a big one like Art Center, or it used to be Art Institute, and you learn from a couple of key instructors. And you have that dialogue, that back and forth with you and your professor. Ideally, it's someone in the industry, someone who's respected and established, and they can tell you the strengths and weaknesses of your work. We've moved into, largely, many people have moved into a self-taught model, and self-taught is amazing. That's how I learned. I did not go to art school. I went to a regular 4-year college, and then I taught myself the rest of what I felt I needed to know. So I think self-taught is amazing. It allows you so much opportunity to help craft and guide your career, your growth. One of the downsides, though, of self-taught is you're always looking for the flaws in your pieces. You're looking for the holes in your skill set. You're trying to fill it with this technique or find this course, this teacher, this approach. What people miss when they go self-taught is they miss being able to show their work to a professor, to somebody who's qualified, and to have, I know a big part of learning, especially art or a technical skill, is having somebody tear down your mistakes. What they're missing, though, they're missing that person building up their strengths. They're missing that person helping them establish what they're good at and build that sort of self-concept of somebody who has these strengths. And so one of the problems with being self-taught is you're always being told. It's easy to find and be told what you're bad at, but very rarely are you being told what you're good at. Very rarely are your strengths being celebrated, because it's like the whole game is trying to get down to like the 4-minute mile. You're just trying to shave weaknesses off, but nobody's really helping build up your strengths. So a lot of videos out there are talking about how to improve your art. They all say the same thing. They're all saying just practice, practice, practice. Just keep grinding, keep fixing your mistakes. I want to take a different approach, because practice, practice, practice focuses entirely on your weaknesses. That's a deficit-based viewpoint. And I want to tackle this from the opposite side. I want to talk about your strengths. So first I want to talk about skill sets in general. For many beginning concept artists, they assume the skill gulf looks like this. You've got you way down here, and you've got the artist that you idolize way up there, right? And we just assume they're maxed out at art, and you're down at the bottom. You're scraping the bottom of the barrel. But art is not one skill. Art is a collection of skills, and only some of them directly involve painting technique. That's laying down brushstrokes or making shapes and that kind of stuff. All of the what we call the art disciplines, those are only some of them. How do I phrase this? The skills that are involved in being a concept artist actually go way beyond the technical skills, just the rendering skills. Well, there's rendering, there's the painting, there's composition, there's perspective, there's anatomy, right? Color theory, all that stuff. Those are the rendering skills. Then you have the technical skills. using the programs, using Photoshop, using 3D Studio, not 3D Studio so much anymore, using Maya, using Blender, using ZBrush, the technical component to concept art, the other stuff. Then you have things like theory and imagination, which is combining two ideas. If I make a skeleton knight, which one do I favor? Do I favor the knight? Do I favor the skeleton? Am I good at combining ideas? Am I good at looking at somebody else's process and reverse engineering? That's a skill. Being able to see what somebody else is doing and replicate it. There's that Marvel character called the Taskmaster. That's what they do well, is they're able to see it and copy it, and that's a really fast way of learning. And then there are the mindset skills, which is how well you deal with failure, how well you're able to keep yourself motivated on off days, where you go when you have blank page syndrome, which is you're staring at a blank canvas and you literally don't know what to do. What processes do you have in place to help get you back on track? And how quickly can you do that, right? So we have the painting, what we think of as concept art skills, which is really just the rendering and the structure behind it, which is anatomy and perspective. We have the technical skills, which is a different bucket, and that's how to use your programs. We have the theory and imagination skills, and this is the realm of ideas. How do we come up with ideas? And then we have the mindset, motivation, kind of the spiritual side, which is dealing with failure, which is getting yourself on track, which is staying motivated, which is being disciplined. And most people will, when they think of being a good concept artist, they just think the rendering, possibly they think a little bit of the technical and the imaginative stuff. They rarely dive into the sort of the emotional, spiritual mindset stuff, but they tend to assume that the artists that they're looking up to are maxed out across the board in whatever these strengths are. And it's actually not like that at all. Nobody is uniformly good. Even the top-tier concept artists have holes, sometimes huge holes in their skill set. The trick is in how you deal with those holes. And we will cover that in another video. But for now, I want to focus on the fact that each of these artists have holes in their skill set. They also have strengths. They have a thing that they're naturally good at, the thing that they get passionate about, the thing that draws them to make art in the first place. And so do you. The thing that people don't realize is that it doesn't take maxed out skills to become a high caliber concept artist. Really, of those disciplines, it takes one. You just need one strength, maybe two, but mostly you can get by on one. You can get by being really good at one thing as long as you know how to supplement the other things with techniques and support strategies. So you could get by just being amazing at designing, even if your rendering and painting skills are terrible, your mindset is not that great, your ideas aren't that great, but you're just an amazing renderer. Or you could be an amazing idea person, but maybe your technical and your painting skills aren't that great. As long as you have techniques in place to supplement those, you can make a career out of one strength. So I ask you, what is your strength? What is your unfair advantage? And you might be saying to yourself, I don't have one, that's why I'm watching a video about how to improve my art. But I would say everyone has one, and it is absolutely worth celebrating. Maybe yours isn't rendering, and that's why you feel stuck. Because that's how you're defining a good artist, as someone who's good at rendering. But while you might struggle with rendering, maybe you never have to stress when coming up with big ideas for pieces. The ideas and inspirations just come to you. Or maybe you feel like your storytelling is kind of limited, but your shape language is amazing and it flows easily. Or, and this is a big one that often gets overlooked, maybe you feel like your painting needs improving, but you always get back up when you get knocked down. Maybe your strength is all on the spiritual, mental side of painting, and you have that impossible resilience. Being a concept artist is more than just raw painting talent. Being a concept artist is being a problem solver. You're solving the specific design problem put in front of you. And I can honestly say that easily half the work that you will do is in that problem-solving arena. See, when you take a deficit-based approach to your skill set, as in focusing entirely on shoring up your weaknesses, we often do that at the cost of ignoring our strengths entirely. We have things that we're good at, we have things that we're less good at, but the weaker skills get all the focus and the strengths tend to get minimized to the point that you forget that you have them. And I'm sure you've heard the phrase, the best defense is a good offense. What I want to do with this video is kind of turn the tables on that. Have you, instead of thinking about your weaknesses, which I'm sure you've got a list as long as your arm of the things that you want to improve about your art. But if you take a moment to pivot to what you do well, finding your strength, and kind of build a learning path and an execution path forward with that strength at the forefront, that way you're celebrating what you do well, and you're building putting down all the other bricks in order to buoy up that one thing you're good at, rather than just trying to fearfully minimize the thing that you're worst at. Because as I said, your average quality, your average professional concept artist that has made a career for themselves, they do not have maxed out skills across the board. You look at ArtStation, you take a look at some of the most amazing creature designers you can think of, or the most amazing spaceship designers you can think of, and you say, oh my God, how could I possibly compete with that? Have you ever seen that artist draw feet? Maybe not. Or if you look at someone who's an amazing face painter, but the reason that there's never any building perspective in their pieces is because they just can't do it. The point is, though, they don't show you all the stuff that they're not bad at, but that they're less comfortable with, less technically inclined towards. Their portfolio, guaranteed, is built around maximizing what they're good at and just having you not even question the stuff that you don't see. Because if you'll indulge me for just a moment, we could kind of imagine this like, this is a stupid analogy, but medieval warfare. You're focused so much on your weakness, it's like trying to fortify your weakest position. You are 100% on the defensive, like you're trying to prevent an attack on your lowest skill. You move all your soldiers, reinforce the weakest castle wall. You're trying to minimize the damage, but you're missing the fact that you could instead be launching an incredibly effective offensive push, using your best features to kind of push a path and putting your energy into maximizing your advantage by doing and celebrating the thing you do well. Okay, so maybe you're not the best renderer. There are techniques and programs to improve rendering. Maybe you're not the best storyteller. There are resources out there that can help you refine and focus your story. Maybe you're not the best with anatomy or perspective. There's the whole world of 3D at your fingertips to overcome this limitation. It's there for the taking. My point is that we assume we have to be at max level in all art skills in order to make a career as a concept artist. But the fact is, you only need one skill. You only need one major strength to make a name for yourself as a concept artist, as the person who does that thing. And it really doesn't matter which one. Instead of being spread thin trying to max out all your skills, what if you poured all that energy, all those skill points into maximizing and promoting the one thing you do well, the thing that makes you light up, the thing that makes you passionate, the thing that keeps bringing you back to the drawing table. And you could enjoy the process instead of it being like this slow attrition of chipping away at your weakest skills, right? Which just feels like a grind. Instead of kicking yourself for not shoring up all those other skills, you supplement them with tips, techniques, or processes that get you professional results, even if you're not naturally gifted in that skill. All right, because I want to let you in. I want to let you in on something about that max level concept artist we looked at earlier. This is the thing that once you switch from your weaknesses to your strengths, you'll understand. That pro concept artist you were comparing yourself to, their skills are not maxed out. They're widely distributed. The only thing that they've been able to do is leverage their one or two strengths into a solid career push, into a reputation. And as you do this process, gradually you come to find out that that's how art has worked all along for centuries. Max out your best skill, make it your thing, own it. Own it and shore up your weaknesses with techniques or tricks. Okay, so I'll ask you again, What is your strength? What keeps you coming back to that board or tablet or table? What do you do best? And how can you build an entire career out of that one strength? Once you have that answer, you will have everything. One of the things that was said recently I was watching a video about something entirely unrelated, and it was a professional who was really good at something who was talking to people who were sort of up and coming. Again, had nothing to do with concept art. And the person in this video, she said something that just really struck me sideways, and I want to paraphrase that here for concept artists. What would you say if all of us established concept artists, the ones that are out there, working in the industry, we all just put down our pencils, put down our pens, and said, okay, we're done. This is yours now. You are the next generation of concept artists. What would you do? What would you focus on? What would you build your career out of if suddenly you didn't have to compare yourself to all the other established artists that were out there? If you could just say, oh, it's mine. I'm on that stage now. This is my responsibility. I am now taking we are now taking stewardship of the concept art industry. What do I want to do with it? What makes me excited? What makes me passionate? I guarantee you find that skill, the whole thing becomes a breeze. Anyway, I've rambled long enough. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you the absolute best of painting. And until next time, go make worlds.